Right, hello there everybody. Sorry this has taken so long to do this. It takes me quite a while to write out all the stuff that I need to write out anyway. So the Doctor Who episode I was talking about last week was Rosa, and it was basically about Rosa Parks. I thought I'd do my Doctor Who review in this, including in this one, because this is the last one I'm doing. Basically, this is the last video I will be doing until next year. I'm not sure when I'll be back next year because things haven't quite worked out how I hope they wouldn't. Sorry, I'll start that again. Things haven't quite worked out how I hope they would work out. I was obsessing about the views and how many people were getting, and not doing the videos because I was enjoying doing them. And never mind about the views. But I will be back at some point next year. I'm just not sure when. So yeah, I will be back. Back to my Doctor Who review. Yes, the story was Rosa, and it's brilliantly well written and brilliantly well done. And I think it's the only Doctor Who story of Jodie Whittaker's time that I actually thoroughly enjoyed. And don't get me wrong, I actually enjoyed Jodie Whittaker. I liked Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor. I enjoyed Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor. I just wasn't a keen fan on a lot of her stories. And Rosa was actually a very well written story. It basically tells of Rosa Parks, who sat down rather than stood up to all the racism going on in America, rather than actually moving to the seats where it says the blacks can sit here. She sat where the whites sit, and it was very good. And Jodie Whittaker was very good, and Mandip Gill was very good, and Bradley Walsh and the other fellow was very good. It was a very good story, and out of all of Jodie Whittaker's time on the Doctor, I thoroughly enjoyed that. And it's just a shame that Jodie Whittaker never actually got some good writing there. And so I can't honestly comment on Broadchurch or anything like that, because that's Chris Chibnall wrote that, and I've never seen Broadchurch, so I can't really comment on that. So yeah, that was a very good story, and that was the only story I think I really enjoyed of Jodie Whittaker's time as the Doctor. Right, on with the Christmas telly. Christmas telly, BBC One, Christmas Eve, Wednesday the 24th of December 1997, and I'll be doing 97, 98, and of course 99, which leads up to the millennium. So the Christmas Eve started off with the news and weather at 7 o'clock. 7:10, Children's BBC started with the Teletubbies. Who remembers the Teletubbies? You had Model Millie at 7:35. The Busy World of Richard Scarey. Yakety Dack at 8:15. 8:35 was Santa Claus is Coming to Town. The Real Adventures of Johnny Quest was at 9:05. Sweet Valley High at 9:30. 8:55 Teletubbies, again 9:55 Teletubbies, sorry. 10:20 Regional News and Weather. The Never-Ending Story, the film The Never-Ending Story was at 10:20. At 12 o'clock was Joy to the World. Then that was followed by the Regional News and Weather and the other news, the proper news. 1:15 was Neighbours. Problem Child was at 25 to 2. Raiders of the Lost Ark was at 10 to 3. Then Blue Peter was at 4:35. Neighbours was at 5:05. Spice Girls on Top of the Pops. That's basically a documentary on the rise of the Spice Girls, because I think GMTV actually did a thing similar on Boxing Day of that year. That was then at 6 o'clock was the news and weather. Regional news and weather at 6:15. Ready Celebrity, Ready Steady Cook was at 6:30. All the Best for Christmas at 7 o'clock. A Perfect Day, that was the song that they did for Children in Need, A Perfect Day. I don't know if anyone remembers that. That was the song. The Wildlife Specials was at 5:09. 5 to 8. The Naked Gun 33 and a third. Oh, sorry. 22.8 was the National Lottery draw, At 9 o'clock was The Naked Gun 33 1/3. Harry Enfield and Chums at 10:15. The News at 10:55. Then that was followed by the Christmas Midnight Mass at 11:15. Then that was followed by the film at 25 to 12 on the 25 to 1 in the morning, Please Sir. Then it moved over to BBC News 24. I'm not even sure what time when BBC News 24 started. But anyway. Then on Christmas Day in 1997, Children's BBC started at 6 a.m. with Christopher the Christmas Tree at 6 o'clock, Santa's First Christmas at 6:25, The Legend of Prince Valiant at 6:50, Eek the Cat at 7:15, Free Willy 7:35, A Monster Christmas was at 8 o'clock, The Demon House Master Takes Over TV was at 8:30, Classic Casper at 9:20, Teletubbies at 9:40, Christmas at the Castle was at 5:10. The classic Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory film was at 11:05. Peter and the Wolf at 20 to 1. That was followed by the News and Weather at 10:1. Top of the Pops at 1:15. The Two Ronnies Christmas Special at 2:15. The Queen at 3. Noel's Christmas Presents at 3:10. Then the film The Flintstones was on at... That was the live action film. That was at 4:10. Animal Hospital at 5:30. Auntie's New Festive Bloomers at 6 o'clock in the evening. News was at 6:40. The Mask. Sorry, my writing is terrible. The film The Mask starring Jim Carrey was at 6 o'clock. Oh no, 6:50. That was followed by the song The Perfect Day. EastEnders at 8:30. One Foot in the Grave at 9 o'clock. News at 10:10. Men Behaving Badly, the Christmas special one, was at 10:20. 11:05 was They Think It's All Over. The film Aeroplane was at 11:45. Then you had the Carry On. You had another film, Carry On Loving, was at 1:10. Then that was followed on by the BBC News 24 channel at 10:02. That was Christmas Day 1997. Boxing Day on 1997 was 6:30. CBBC started at 6:30 with The Greedosaurus Gang. William's Wish Wellington was at 6:35. Bump's Christmas Story was at 20 to 7. Spot's Magical Christmas at 10 to 7. Posing the Peas at 7:20. The Toy Symphony at 7:25. White Christmas at 7:50. Eek the Cat at 8:15. Sweet Valley High at 8:40. North and South on Tour at 9 a.m. Casper Christmas Classics at 9:25. Teletubbies at 20 to 10. Superman 3 was at 10:10. Paul McCartney's Standing Stone, the documentary, was at 10:12. The News at 1. Neighbours at 10:1. Disney Time at 1:30. Then that was followed by the film Hook at 10:02. The Pink Panther at 4:25. Final score was at 4:50. News and Weather at 10:05. Neighbours, repeat of Neighbours, was at 5:25. Big Break was at 5:50. The film Beethoven's Second was at 6:20. EastEnders at 20 to 8. Then that was followed by at 8:10 with Blankety Blank. Lily Savage actually presented that one. The News at 20 to 9. The Vicar of Dibley at 9. Before They Were Famous 2 with Angus Deaton was at 20 to 10. Sorry. The film True Lies was at 10:15. Unplugged ones at 25 to 1. Then that was followed by another Carry On film, Carry On Girls, at 1:20. Then that was followed at 2:45 by BBC News 24. Sounds an odd really lineup for Christmas on 1997. Meanwhile, over on ITV, GMTV started the day at 6 o'clock. The Treasure Seekers at 9:25. Percy the Park Keeper, The Rescue at 9:55. The Forgotten Toys at 10:25. Regional News and Weather at 10:50. To Grandmother, Here We Go, 11 a.m. Lunchtime news was at 20 to 1. The regional news and weather was at 10 to 1. 1 o'clock was cartoon. At 10 past 1 was Movie Magic Wild Hollywood. Movie Magic Wild Hollywood. Close Encounters of the Third Kind was the film that day at 5 past 2. The Making of the Men in Black was at 4:30. Regional news and weather was at 5 o'clock. 5:30 was the early evening news and weather. Look Who's Talking Now, 5:45. I don't think I've actually seen that one. I think that's the one about the animals. Emmerdale was at 7:30. Des O'Connor Tonight at 8. Black Velvet Band was at 9 p.m. News and weather at 11 p.m. Christmas Glory was at 11:15. At 12:15 was the Rising Damp film. Instant Replay 97 at 2 in the morning. The Chart Show at 3 in the morning. Funny Business at 4 o'clock in the morning. Carnival of the Animals at 4:30. The Making of Hercules at 5 p.m. The Cartoon Tailspin was at 5:30, and the morning news was at 5 to 6. That was Christmas Eve over on ITV on 1997. If I can get to... Yeah, here we go. Christmas Day, Thursday the 25th of December, 1997. The day started off at 6 a.m. with GMTV's Kids at GMTV with Barney and Friends. 6:20 Bananas in Pyjamas. Bananas in Pyjamas. They're going down the stairs. 6:30 Barney and Friends. Fun Song Factory at 10 to 7. Bananas in Pyjamas again at 7:25. Bug Alert at 5 past 8. We Wish You a Merry Christmas at 8:25. A Child's Christmas was at 9:25. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was the film at 10:25. Father Christmas and the Missing Reindeer was at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. 12:35 was Homeward Bound, The Incredible Journey at 12:35. 10 past 2 was Play It For Real. 4:55 was the news and weather. The Queen was at 3. The Muppet Christmas Carol, beautiful film, absolutely loved it, was at 10 past 3. Spice Up Your Christmas at 4:45. That was a film about the Spice Girls. The news was followed at news at 10 past. News and weather followed at 10 past 6 in the evening. No, sorry, getting myself all muddled up here. 10 to 6 was the news and weather. Emmerdale was at 6. Coronation Street at 7. Home Alone 2 was at 7:30. Starting Blocks was at 9:45. The Bare Necessities at 20 past 10. News and weather was at 10:15. Mortal Thoughts, that's the film with Demi Moore and Bruce Willis, was at 11:25. Entertainment Now was at 1:20. The 1997 World Music Awards was at 2:20 in the morning. Coronation Street repeat at 4:55. 4:45 was Funny Business. Cartoons was at 5:15. Then that was followed by Tailspin, and then the news at 5 to 6 in the morning. Boxing Day on ITV in 1997 started off with GMTV, Kids at GMTV, Our House at 6 o'clock, Barney and Friends at 6:25, 10 past 7 Bananas in Pyjamas, Bug Alert at 25 to 8. News and Sport and Weather was at 8 o'clock. A GMTV special, The Rise of the Spice Girls, was at 8:30. 8:30 was Bug Alert. The Treasure Seekers was at 9:25. Tiny Toons was at 9:55. Percy the Park Keeper was at 10:20. The TV film Freaky Friday with Shelley Long was at 10:50. Countdown to Tomorrow, that was a making of the James Bond film. At 1:30 was Batman Mask of the Phantasm. 20 to 3 was the Disney film The Sword and the Stone. The Canterville Ghost was at 4 in the afternoon. News and Weather at 5:40. Emmerdale at 10 to 6. Forever Young was at 6:20 in the evening. Then that was followed at 8:20, Coronation Street. News at 10 to 9. Dame Edna Kisses It Better, 21 at 9 o'clock. Dances with Wolves at 10 o'clock. At 1:20 in the morning was 10. That's the film with Dudley Moore and Bo Derek. Collins and McConaughey's Movie Club at 3:30 in the morning. Soundbites at 3:55. Comedy Central at 4:05. Tailspin at 5:30. And at 5:55 was the morning news. So that was 1997. Wasn't really much there to get you excited, and you can sort of see now that the Christmas telly is starting to go downhill. Shall we start looking at 1998? Hang on. I've got myself all muddled up here. Hang on. Sorry, bear with me. I've got myself all muddled up here. I do apologise, ladies and gentlemen. Right, hang on, I'll put them down now. Here we go. Got all my days muddled up. BBC One on Christmas Eve was started the day at 7 o'clock with the news. Regional News and Weather was also at 7 o'clock. You had CBBC started at 7:10 with Tales of the Tooth Fairy. Teletubbies was at 7:15. Moomin was at 7:40. Tasmanian Devil, the cartoon, was at 8:05. Blue Peter was at 8:35. Sweet Valley High at 5 to 9. The Fame Game at 9:20. The Teletubbies at 9:55. Then that was hotly pursued by the news, Regional News and Weather at 10:20. Then that was followed at 10:30 with the Leslie Nielsen film All I Want for Christmas. The New Adventures of Superman was at 5 to 12. Good Neighbours was at 12:45. That was basically fans talking about their favourite moments of the Neighbours series. 12:55 was News and Weather. Then that was followed by an episode of Neighbours. Lassie, A New Generation was at 25 to 1. Live and Kicking Mystery Tour Tunes was at 3:05. The Santa Claus with Tim Allen was at 3:45. Then at 5:15 was Neighbours. Whatever You Want for Christmas was at 20 to 6. The news at 6:30. Regional News at 25 to... That was at 5:00. Sorry. Regional News was at 6:55. That was followed by another edition of Celebrity Ready Steady Cook at 7. EastEnders at 7:30. Animal Hospital at 8. Birds of a Feather at 8:30. The news at 9:10. Jonathan Creek at 8:30 was Birds of a Feather. 9:10 was news. 9:30 was Jonathan Creek. The Frank Skinner Christmas show was at Christmas. The Frank Skinner Christmas show was at 11. Christmas is Coming was at 20 to 12. Then you had a Carry On film. Carry On Again Doctor was at 12:40. Then at 2:10 it moved on to the BBC News 24 channel. So yeah. Then Christmas Day on 1998 started the day off at 6 o'clock with children's BBC Teletubbies. Noddy in Toyland at 6:25. 7:20 PJ's Unfunny Business Bunny Christmas was at 7:20. 7:45 Scrooge Koala's Christmas was at 7:45. Alvin and the Chipmunks at 8:10. To Me, To You at 8:35. Rotten Ralph at 9 o'clock. Teletubbies at 9:30. Celebrate Christmas at 10 a.m. The film Miracle on 34th Street was at 11 a.m. 10 to 1 was Top of the Pops. News and Weather was at 10 to 2. The Morecambe and Wise Show was at 2:50. Hang on. At 5 to 2. The Queen was at 3. 10 past 3 was Noel's Christmas Presents. 4:10 was Animal Hospital. The First Snow of Christmas was at 5 past 4. News and Weather at 5:15. EastEnders at 5:25. Auntie's Pranking New Bloomers was at 5:55. Changing Rooms at Christmas, it's an odd thing to show at Christmas, was at 6:30. The film about the little pig Babe was on at 7 o'clock. EastEnders Part 2 was on at 8:30. Before They Were Famous 3 was at 9 o'clock. The news was at 20 to 9. Then the 3-part trilogy of Men Behaving Badly, this was the last lot that they were doing, was at 10 to 10. They Think It's All Over was at 25 to 11. A Many Splendid Thing was at 10 past 11. The People's Nativity was at 20 to 12. Robbie Williams for One Night Only at quarter to 12. At 25 to 1 was Carry On Girls. Then that was at 2 o'clock, I think, the BBC News 24. My writing is terrible, I do apologise. On Boxing Day, which was on a Saturday in 1998, was 6 a.m. started the day with Pingu. Children's BBC started with Pingu. Eat the Cat at 6:05. 6:20 was Follow That Sleigh. The Littlest Pet Shop was at 20 to 7. The Wizard of Oz was at 5 past 7. X-Men was at 7:30. Round the Twist at 7:50. The New Adventures of Superman was at 8:15. Almost Live, Definitely Kicking was at 9 a.m. Robbie Williams, Some Others Do Have 'Em was at 11:15. The film Super Mario Brothers was at 11:45. News and Weather was at 20 past 1. The Snowman, that was the stage version of the Channel 4 of Ronald Raymond Briggs' book of the Snowman. Bramley Hedge was at 25 past 2. Casper at 10 to 2. That was a premiere. That was the live action version of Casper the Friendly Ghost, was at 10 to 3. The World's Strongest Man was at 20 past 4. 10 to 4 was Final Score. 5:15 was the news. Regional News and Sport was at 5:25. Animal Hospital was at 5:30 with Fleas and All. I think that was going behind the scenes, all the funny outtakes and stuffing. I won't mention who's in that. The film Free Willy 2 was at 10 past 6. National Lottery Draw was at 7:45. Casualty was at 5 past 8. Men Behaving Badly at 25 to 10. French and Soldiers at 10:15. They were actually taking the mickey out of Titanic, the making of Titanic in that one, I think. And Adrian Edmondson actually starred as James Cameron, I think. Naked Gun 2.5 was at 5 past 11. Carry On At Your Convenience was at 25 past 12. 1:55 in the morning was BBC News 24. Over on ITV, Christmas Eve started the day off with GMTV. Regional News and Weather was at 9:25. CITV was on at 9:35. House of Tunes started it all off with 9:35. Rocky and the Dodos was at 10 o'clock. Art Attack Christmas Cracker was at 10:15. The Snow Queen was at 10 to 11. My writing is terrible, honestly. I'll put my numbers as well. News and Weather was at... Oh no, hang on, no. 12:50... No, hang on, sorry. 10:50 was the Snow Queen. 12:30 was the News and Weather. 20 past 12 was Regional News. News and weather at 12:30. The Baldy Man was at 1 o'clock. 1:30 was Charlotte Church, Voice of an Angel. Children's programmes Paddington started at 2 o'clock. Animaniacs at 2:10. Hey Arnold at 12:30 at 2:35. In the House with Cleopatra and Friends was at 3 o'clock. Premiere at 4. Regional news was at 4:30. Early evening news was at 5. The film Sister Act 2 was at 5:15. Emmerdale at 7. The Bill, that was followed by The Bill at 7:30. Heartbeat Echoes of the Past was at 8:30. The Ruth Rendell Mysteries was at 9:30. Then that was followed by the news at 25 to 11. This is Celine Dion at 10 to 11. Christmas Glory at 11:30. Brief Encounter was at 12:30. Christmas on Division Street was at 2:05. 3:50 was the film Speaks Run Wild. Hurricane at 5:05. I do apologise, my writing is terrible. Then that was Mumphy's White Christmas at 5:30. Then that was followed by the news at 5 to 6. I do apologise. Because sometimes I can't even understand my own handwriting. Christmas Day on 1998 started the day off at 6 a.m. with GMTV. Bananas in Pyjamas at 6 o'clock. Big Garage at 6:25. Our House at 6:50. The Fun Song Factory at 7:10. Barney and Friends at 7:35. GMTV Christmas Special. 9:25 Christmas Day in the Morning. Seagull TV Sooty and Co Christmas Special at 10:20. Percy the Park Keeper at 11 a.m. 11:35 The Forgotten Toys. The Willows in Winter at 12:05. The News and Weather was at 1:30. Spice Girls Live at Wembley was at 1:45. The Queen at 3. Christmas Disney Time at 3:10. Jack and the Beanstalk at 4:10. Then that was followed by the news at 6:15. Emmerdale at 6. Coronation Street at 7. You've Been Framed at 8 at Christmas. Who Wants to Be a Christmas Millionaire at 8:30. Christmas from Hell at 9:30. 10:30 was Regional News and Weather. The Godfather Part 2 was at 20 to 11, sorry. Shout at the Devil was at 2:20. 4:45 was Movie Magic Wild Hollywood. 5:35 was Christmas cartoon time. Then that was followed by the news at 5 to 6. Sorry. Get it out. Sorry. Really sorry. ITV Boxing Day, Saturday 26th of October 1998. The day started off with GMTV News. The Big Garage at 6:10. The Fun Song Factory at 6:30. Barney and Friends at 10 to 6. Dig It at 7:10 with 101 Dalmatians. 7:35 The Jungle Clubs. That's the Disney version of all the animals from the Jungle Book. Sorry. At 8:20 was Timon and Pumbaa. 8:50 was Recess. SMTV started the day at 9:25. CD UK was at 11:30. News at 12:30. Bugs Bunny Looney Christmas Tales at 20 to 1. The film Raise the Titanic was at 1:05. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids at 3:05. 3:05 in the afternoon. Then at 4:45 was News on Sport and Weather. Richie Rich at 5 o'clock. That's the Macaulay Culkin film. 6:40 was Moment of Truth. The James Bond film A View to a Kill was at 7:45. At 10:05 was the News and Weather. Foul Play was at 10:15. Dreaming of a Right Christmas was at 11:15. Gremlins was at 12:10. That's the film Gremlins. 10 past 2 in the morning, Entertainment Now. The Absent-Minded Professor was at 3:10. CDUK at 5:20. 5:30 was The Little Engine That Could at 5:30. And that was the news at 5:55. And that was 1998. BBC One and ITV. Now this is the one, Christmas Eve, on the last decade, the last Christmas weekend in the 90s. The last night, leading up to the millennium, to year 2000. Who remembers all that? And that stupid question that Gavin Roslin asked when Hera and Michael Parkinson were doing a BBC thing to celebrate the millennium, and Australia celebrated 12 o'clock, I think, a few hours before us. Well, actually quite a few hours before us. And she asked that stupid question about what does all that mean? And Michael Parkinson said, well, they've started their new year off, the year 2000, off before us. Right, Christmas Eve on BBC One. The day started off with at 7 o'clock was the BBC News. That was followed by the BBC Regional News and Weather. Then at 7:10, children's BBC kicked off with Teletubbies Advent. At 7:35 was Santa and the Two Fairies, A Monster Christmas at 8:05, Rugrats at 8:30, 8:45 Smart. That was the fun with that fella, with that Mark fella, who sadly killed himself because he lost his girlfriend, which was really sad. And so I won't go too much into that. 9:10 was The Mask. That was the cartoon version of The Mask. 9:35 Goosebumps. 10 o'clock Gadget Boy. 10:20 Tweenies. Who remembers the Tweenies? 10:45 Santa Claus the Movie. 12:30 was the BBC News, Regional News and Weather. 12:50 was Unlikely Angel. The Wind in the Willows was the live action version of Kenneth Graham's classic children's tale, which was directed by Terry Jones, and he starred in it as well. Blue Peter was at 20 past 4. This was the thing I was talking about, I think it was last week, the one with Peter Capaldi, The Greatest Story in the World. Children's drama starring Dervla Kerwin and Peter Capaldi and Ricky Tomlinson and Elizabeth and Holly Earl. It's 3 days before Christmas, and Geraldine and her 2 daughters, Livy and Angelina, find themselves homeless, desperate to find somewhere to live. The family takes up residence in Scotty Lee's department store, turning their nightmare into an adventure of a lifetime. That was the one I was talking about. Yet Only Fools and Horses the First Christmas. That was an episode of the first Christmas episode of Only Fools and Horses. Jim Davison's Generation Game was at 6:05. Then at 7:05 was the news and Regional News and Weather. 7:35 was Children's Promise, The Man in the Golden Suit. The National Lottery starts at 7:20. EastEnders at 8. Airport at 8:30. Dinner Ladies at 9. Then that was followed by a National Lottery update. The 8:35 was the Vicar of Dibley. 10:15 was the BBC News and Weather and Regional News and Weather. 10:35 was Winton's Wonderland. 11:25 was Christmas Midnight Eucharist. Doctor in the House at 20:01 in the morning. Then at 2:10 was BBC News 24. Over on ITV, 5 to 6 was the news. 6 to 9:25 GMTV. 6 to 9:25 was GMTV. 9:25 to 10:55 was CITV. 9:25 Santa's Last Christmas. 9:55 the Top 10 of Everything. 10:25 The Worst Witch. At 10:55 was ITV News. London Today and Weather. At 11:05 was the Christmas Story Keepers. 12:30 was London Today with the weather. 12:40 was ITV Lunchtime News and Weather. 1:30 Clueless. From Mickey to Infinity and Beyond was at 5 to 2. The Muppet Christmas Carol was at 2:50. At 4:20 was the regional news and weather. At 4:50 was the regional news and was the ITV early evening news. Sorry. 5:05 was Forever Young. Emmerdale was at 7. 7:30 was Coronation Street. 8 o'clock was The Bill. Who Wants to Be a Christmas Millionaire was at 9. Is That Your Final Answer at 9:30. Dark Ages was at 10:30. 11 o'clock was the ITV nightly news. 11:15 was Bethlehem Year Zero. That was when they tried to bring Christ, the birth of Christ and all that up to date. They tried to, Sorry, this is going on for quite a while. I do apologise. Christmas Glory at 11:30. Beaches at 12:35. Club Vision at 2:50. Box Office America was at 3:30. Make My Music was at 3:55. 5:15 was Cartoon Time, and 5:30 to 5:55 was Clueless. That was the American sitcom based on the film Clueless. On Christmas Day in 1999 was 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock Children's BBC. 6 o'clock Polka Dot Shorts. 6:10 was Teletubbies. Teletubbies Advent Calendar. That was followed by that. 6:40 Barney. 6:45 Christmas Tunes. 7:10 The True Meaning of Crumb Fest. 7:35 Blue Peter, A Christmas Box of Delights. 8 o'clock was Live and Kicking. 10 o'clock was Joy to the World. James and the Giant Peach was at 11 o'clock. 12:15 was BBC News. 12:20 was Morecambe and Wise Christmas Show. 1:30 was Christmas Top of the Pops. Hooves of Fire was at 2:30. 3 o'clock The Queen. Noel's Christmas Presents at 3:10. Jumanji at 4 o'clock. 5:40 was the news. 5:50 was EastEnders. 6:20 was Auntie's Cracking New Bloomers. 7 o'clock was David Copperfield. 8:30 was EastEnders. 9 o'clock was The Vicar of Dibley. Before They Were Famous was at 9:40. 10:20 was BBC News. The Royal Family was at 10:30. That's the comedy show with Ricky Tomlinson. 11:10 was They Think It's All Over. Rumours of Angels at 11:45. The Italian Job at 10 to 12. 1:30 was A Shock to the System. Then at 5 to 3 to 6 was the move over to BBC News 2024. At 5 to 5 was the ITV News. At 6 to 9:25 was GMTV. That started the day for GMTV preschool festive fun for the young, including Jellykins and the Big Bug Show. 7 o'clock was Dig It. 8 o'clock was Christmas Day on GMTV with Ann Davis and Reverend Stephen Chalk present carols and heartwarming stories from the GMTV Get Up and Give appeal. 9:25 was SMTV Live. Pinocchio, that was the classic Disney tale, was at 12:05. 1:45 was ITV Weekend News. My Favourite Hymns at 2 o'clock. 3 o'clock was The Queen. 3:10 was Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. 4:45 was Weekend News, was ITV News and Weather. 5:05 was Gladiators, Battle of the Giants. 6 o'clock was Who Wants to Be a Christmas Millionaire. 6:30 was Emmerdale. Coronation Street was at 7:30. Who Wants to Be a Christmas Millionaire, 8:30. Second edition. A Touch of Frost with David Jason was at 9 o'clock. 10:30 Who Wants to Be a Christmas Millionaire. 11 o'clock was ITV News. Bethlehem Year Zero was at 11:10. Charade at 11:25. Blame It on the Bellboy was at 1:35 in the morning. 3:05 was National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Animaniacs was at 4:40. 5:30 to 5:55 was Clueless. On Boxing Day on Sunday, we started the day off with at 6 a.m. with Children's BBC at 6 o'clock to 9:55 was 6 o'clock Bumps Christmas Story. 6:10 Postman Pat. 6:30 Noddy. 7 o'clock Christmas Tunes. 7:25 Santa's First Christmas. Eat the Cat at 10 to 8. 8:15 with Keenan and Kel. Rotten Ralph at 8:20 to 9. Woody the Woodpecker at 9:05. 9:30 50/50 Christmas special. Boxing Day service Love Shone Down at 9:55. A Goofy Movie at 10:35. Cartoon at 11:45. 12 o'clock was Balto. An adventure set in Alaska in 1925. Balto, a cross between a wolf and a dog, sets off on a mission to rescue medical supplies needs to cure children of diphtheria. That was an animated story. At 1:10 was the news and weather. Omnibus edition of EastEnders at 1:25. Matilda at 2:45. Songs of Praise at 4:15. Final score at 4:50. BBC News regional news and weather was at 5:10. 5:25 was Vets in Practice at Christmas. Animal Hospital Fleas and All at 5 to 6. David Copperfield was at 6:25. Casualty was at 8. Mission Impossible was at 9. BBC News and regional news and weather was at 10:45. 11 o'clock was Match of the Day. 12:45 was the film, John Cleese film, Clockwise. Then at 2:20, BBC shut down and moved over to the BBC News 24. ITV News was at 5 to 6. 6 o'clock to 9:25 was GMTV. That was at 6 was the news. At 6:10 was GMTV preschool, including the Big Bug Show, Bananas in Pyjamas, and Jellykins. At 8 o'clock was Dig It. That featured Recess, 101 Dalmatians, and Pepper Ann. At 9:25 was My Favourite Hymns. 9:55 was Sunday Morning. 10:55 was The Searchers. The Day I Met an Angel was 11:25. 12:25 was Trisha Home for Christmas. 1:25 was ITV Weekend News and Weather. Timekeepers of the Millennium at 1:35. 2 o'clock was The Shaggy Dog. Stepping Out was at 20 to 4. 44:45 was Fairies. 6:15 in the evening was the ITV Weekend News. Then at 6:25 was You've Been Frank Christmas Special. Stars in Their Lives at 5 to 7. Coronation Street at 7:30. Heartbeat at 8. Turn of the Screw was at 9. At 11 was ITV Weekend News and Weather. The South Bank Show was at 11:10. Bethlehem Year Zero was at 12:15. I Love Trouble at 12:35. Greyhounds at 10 to 3 in the morning. Cybernet at 4:35. Animaniacs at 5 o'clock. Cartoon Time at 5:20. 5:30 to 5:55 was Clueless. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was Christmas Telly, 1997, 98 and 99. Oh, and I can't tell you what a relief it is to have all that over and done with now. I just want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I could take this opportunity. And my little sister, God bless her, she was born 2 days before Christmas, so I hope she has her happy, heavenly birthday up there with everyone. And yeah, this year hasn't been bad. It hasn't been good either, if I'm honest. It's had its good points, but it's also had its bad points and its really low points. I enjoyed my trip to America. I think that's about all really. I enjoyed watching all the films that I watched at the cinema. Got them all on DVD and yeah. So looking forward to the next year. I'm so looking forward to my holiday, which is from the 21st of December right round through to the 2nd of January. As I say, I will be back in the new year at some point. I'm just not sure when. If I'm honest, things haven't quite worked out the way I had hoped. Especially when you start obsessing about the views. When you're not doing them for the love of what you're doing. You're just doing them for views. And that's when it's time you think, you've got to stop now. Come back, restart, reset, and maybe start again and not obsess about the views. So I will be back at some point next year. I'm just not sure when. Maybe in January. And also I wanted to read The Last Adventure of Sherlock Holmes, but I think, yeah, The Last Adventure of Sherlock Holmes. And maybe I'll do some more reviews and some other bits and pieces as well. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I hope you get all what you want for Christmas. And please take care of yourselves. I will see you all in the new year. And I do hope that next year will be a lot better than this year. Bye-bye for now.